Rebels in Yemen's capital Sana'a have shelled the president's home, breaking a day-old ceasefire agreement. The president was reported to be inside the house, but officials have insisted he was safe. The ceasefire was brokered between the Presidential Guard and the Houthis after clashes in the city. The Houthis, who are a rebel group within Yemen who carried out the attacks, are seeking greater autonomy for their home province. Well, here to give us more context is May Noman from BBC Arabic. Let's begin with the situation as far as we know it on the ground. I mean, this sounds very serious if the president's own home was shelled.
Absolutely. We know that they've taken over the presidential palace. They've taken over a key part of the army, the 3rd Army Brigade that was protecting the palace. Last week they kidnapped the chief of staff, the president's chief of staff, Ahmed bin Mubarak. And on the ground we see them very powerful and more in control than the government itself.
So tell us a bit more about who the Houthis are and what they represent.
So the Houthis are a rebel group based in the north of the country in Sada, and they adhere to a branch of Shia called Zaidi. The Zaidis used to rule northern Yemen for 1,000 years until 1962 under what we called an imamate. And now opponents of the Houthis are saying that they're actually trying to reinstate the same rule today.
So how far is this? I know this is a simplification, but how far are we seeing a lot in the Arabian Peninsula and north? Various kinds of sectarian wars, effectively.
Yes, Yemen has a different political scene. The tribes are very much in power, and although this might seem in a simple term as a sectarian conflict, it's a lot more complicated than that. There's a history between the Houthis and different political figures in Yemen, and there's a lot of vengeance that they're kind of seeking out to
kind of play out in
exactly.
This. And I know some people at home who will say, you know, we know what's happening in Syria, we know what's happening in Palestine and in Iraq. Why should we care about this? I mean, what does this mean to us?
We're seeing more and more that whatever happens in one country really affects not just neighboring countries, but the rest of the world. Just last week, the AQAP or Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula leader in Yemen announced that they claimed the responsibility for the Charlie Hebdo attacks in Paris. So we're not really far or disconnected from the rest of the world.
And indeed, that's the attackers, or at least one of them, shouted that he was carrying out those attacks in the name of Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula or in Yemen. Just a final thought. Do you think that the Houthis could actually take over control of the government? Is that what they actually want, or beyond the revenge that you were talking about?
That is the question that everyone is asking. Everyone's wondering if this was a coup. Abdul Malik al-Houthi, who is the leader of the rebel group, just finished his speech on TV, and he said this is not a coup, and that they are just trying to stop the government from practicing its usual corrupt practices.
Very interesting. I know it's something that's been followed tonight in the UN Security Council. There may be a statement on that later, and we'll bring it obviously to viewers when it happens. May, thanks very much.